Hello there, my little lovelies. So today we are going to finally finish the top, hopefully. I've already sealed all the edges of the satin fabric. As you can see, it's not going to be fraying anymore. I've already also kind of separated it into the left side and the right side. And I also have boning, which is just made from zip ties. But it's boning, it works as boning, it acts like boning. It's a bit curved already, but like eventually it will uncurve and curve to my body, I hope. So yeah. I also made this like crochet lace trim kind of to act as like hopefully the eyelets, because like I don't have enough grommets to lace this up, but I don't want to do like I don't want to do ribbon lacing either, because if I use ribbons and laces, I'm worried that it's just gonna like look too chunky and thick. So I decided to just use like a crochet lace pattern that I made up on the spot. Yeah. It's a very simple pattern. I just like chain 67 and then added a chain, turned it over, did like a single crochet in each chain until the very end, did like another chain, turned it over, did a slip stitch. I then chained 3, and then I skipped 1 stitch and then did a slip stitch into the second stitch. And then I chained 2, skipped a stitch, did a slip stitch into the second stitch, and so on and so forth. I just repeated that pattern until I got 17 of the 3 chain bumps. And it starts and ends with a 3 chain bump. So yeah, this is what I'm gonna be using as like the thingamabobs I'm gonna thread the lace through. I hope it works, I hope it stays. I need to go get some lace. Not lace, I need to go get some ribbon. I don't have any suitable ribbon for this project thing. I don't have any pink ribbon. Or like thin pink ribbon. I have red, but no pink. Dang it. Okay. I will have to get some ribbon at the dollar store later when I go get the eyelash glue as well for the rhinestones that I'm going to be wearing for makeup. Because, I don't know, I feel like rhinestones on your face is going to look so cute. It's going to look so sparkly. It's going to look amazing. Anyways, I will get started on the bodice because it's already almost noon. I spent the early morning editing videos because I was running out of storage on my phone. So yeah, I will finish up the bodice. Yeah. Hello, so as you guys may have noticed, today's upload is a very long one. I tried very hard to shorten the duration of the video, except I don't know, I just don't want to speed up my process too much. It's already at like 6.5x speed, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, and it's not really quite enough to be split into 2 parts, I'd say. Usually I try to keep the videos to like around 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes max. So you guys will have to kind of bear with the extra 5-ish minutes. So yeah, I am just stitching together the sides of the bodice. I actually didn't really like the way it was turning out, because like in the pattern that I made, they had like a seam down the back for a zipper, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't really like the seam in the back,
because I wasn't going to add boning there. I didn't want to add boning there. So I decided that I was going to make the back panel just one panel. So the back is going to be made out of like 3 panels instead of the 4 I originally had. Which is a bit annoying because I already cut out all the panels, and that means I just have to put 2 panels to waste. I'm thinking of like maybe making like a bow or something with that. But yeah, that is me running upstairs to cut out the new fabric, so that way it looks better in the back. The lining I already attached to each other. The lining I'm too lazy to change. So for the lining, it's still going to have a seam in the back, but no one's going to see that seam anyways, so it doesn't really matter. The back panel actually took me a while to cut out because I didn't actually have a pattern piece for it, which I definitely should go and actually make a pattern piece. But yeah. It's surprisingly small, because like when I measured myself, I feel like it should be bigger, but at the same time when I try it on myself, it's too small. But then again, maybe it's because I don't have the cups in, so that way it stretches the fabric weirdly. Oh well, I'll figure things out later. I did also realize later that day that since I already kind of attached the lining to the nice fabric for the cups, I will have to attach the ribbon on just the inside with like a simple top stitch, which is a bit unfortunate because I'm worried that the ribbon is going to like scratch at my skin. But at the same time, I guess it's for the best because this way I can also just easily seam rip the ribbon out if I don't like it. So yeah, I will definitely have to remember to add the ribbon later. Should I also do that for the top and bottom? Or maybe I should just seam rip the lining and the cups and just attach the ribbon inside it. Oh geez, so many things to consider. Because I do want the ribbon to be inside of it, because that way it'll look nicer. At the same time, I don't know how long I want the ribbon to be. I mean, it's going to be tied into a bow, yes, but I don't know how long I want it to be to tie into a bow. Anyways, I'll worry about that later. So yeah, that is me just pinning, doing more pinning. After I pin it all together, I'm going to stitch it all together, and then I'm going to go up and iron it all flat to the best of my ability. And then I'm going to do like a top stitch on either side of the seam. That way it will actually lay flat. And then afterwards, I just kind of attached the lining to the nice fabric, right sides together, with like the lace trim that I made, the crochet lace trim that I made in the center. Well, I first attached the lace trim to the nice fabric. That way I sort of have like a guideline of where to sew, and then I attached it in between like the lining fabric. That is me trying on the bodice, making sure it fits nicely, and it did. So yeah, I did have to like trim a bit of the edges and reseal it, because the way I cut out the back panel, the backmost panel, was in like a perfect square rectangle situation. But then when I sewed it together, I had like an angle that kind of tapered down for the waist. So yeah, I have to cut out some extra fabric and then Sorry, I just woke up, so I'm very tired. So yeah, I have to cut off the extra fabric, reseal the edges, that way it doesn't fray, and then I iron it down to the top stitch. So back to what I was saying before this, I attached the lace to the right side. I made sure to attach it the right way though, so that way when I flip the seam over, it would stick out and not stick in. That's very important to note. But then I attached the white piece of fabric over top. Well, I suppose more like underneath, because I was following the guidelines that I already sewn onto the nice piece of fabric to ensure that it wouldn't really get in the way, sort of. So yeah, and then afterwards I flipped it around, ironed the seam down, did like a top stitch very close to the edge, and then I started adding the boning channels. I'd say the boning channels for like the two middle pieces were the hardest to add, because I did add boning for like the lace up portion. That way it wouldn't all scrunch up and look weird. That part was a bit hard to add because I didn't really have any guidelines, so I just stuck the boning in, pinned like the fabric right next to the boning, and then I just carefully did a stitch along that pinned line, being careful to like be really close to the boning but not really touching it. I can't really sew over the boning because it is plastic, so that part was a bit hard and nerve-wracking. But then afterwards, it wasn't that bad because I already had like sort of a guideline, because I was going to stitch the boning on like the seams, and on the seams I already had like, I'd say like about a 5mm 5mm line on either side of the seam. So I just did like another line following that line-ish. Does that make sense? Because like when I was sewing, I put the stitch to the widest. It was still just a straight stitch, but I put it to like the widest setting, which was 5 for me. And then I had like a normal foot, and the normal foot has like that line down the middle. It has like that cutout down the middle, so you can kind of see where you're sewing. And I followed the seam with that line, and then I followed the line that I made next to the seam with that divot. And then yeah, that's how I basically did sort of semi-even stitches on either side of the seam, and it was actually just enough for the zip ties that I had that I was going to be using for boning. So yeah, that was very lucky of me. I do know that, I don't know if it's because I cut the lining weird or something, but the lining and the seam in the front doesn't really line up the most perfectly, which is a bit unfortunate, but it's fine. I do have to take in the lining a bit because I did kind of redo the lining, but I don't know, it didn't really look that nice. There is a bit more puckering, there's a bit more fabric in the lining compared to like the outside satin piece. So I will have to go fix that later. Yeah, that is me just, I'm pretty sure, seam ripping the edges. Oh no, I was just ironing things out, cutting off the excess fabric. But then when I pinned it to the nice lining, I realized that it was a bit too big. Because I wanted the two pieces to be like the exact same-ish and be like flush against each other, with little to no gaping in between, but that just didn't really fit the bill. And I now realize that I was really stupid. Oh my god, wait a minute, because I did do the lining. Oh my god. Hold up. I should have attached the two pieces to the cups first. I should have done that first. That way I had like a nice seam at the top. But I didn't do that. I did the boning first. Oh geez, dang it. I don't want to take apart all the boning that I did. It took me like an hour. Because I'm slow at sewing like that. Oh geez. I messed up. Should I use ribbon as like bias tape? And put it at the top? Because I do need a way to seal off all the raw edges nicely. Oh geez, I'm an idiot. I mean, it wouldn't be bad either because I do need to redo the lining. But still, all my hard work has gone to waste because I was an idiot. I have realized that I need to redo a lot of things. Okay, so note to future self. Next time when you're making something like this, remember to attach the straps in between the lining and the nice fabric. And remember to attach the nice fabric and the lining fabric together before you stitch the boning. Unless you're planning on using bias tape and using that to finish the edges, instead of just doing like a normal seam. Oh geez. I'm a big dum-dum. Well, if I cut everything apart, that means I can... that means I can finally attach the cups to it. But the thing is, the way I attach the cups to it is through folding each side of the cup down around it to hide the seam. Oh wait, I can just do the same thing with the lining. Yeah. I'll fold the lining pieces down. That way I can actually like finish the seam for the lining, the top edge of the lining. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I am just thinking all of this up on the spot. So I'm just basically musing to myself. Okay, so that is what I'm going to do. Yeah, cool. I have a game plan, for the most part. And I now know what I have to do. Oh jeez, I don't want to take apart all the boning channels. I suppose the boning channels weren't that hard to do. It's just the whole... Well, I really don't want to take apart the boning channels that I did at the very side seams, because those ones were hard to do. Those ones were... ugh. I'm pretty sure I can just fold the fabric down over there and it'll turn out fine, hopefully. But yeah, okay. The boning channels weren't that hard to do. It was just pinning the two pieces of fabric flush against each other, making sure there wasn't any like weird gaping. That part was hard. And then the seam ripping was also complicated. I didn't like the seam ripping. So yeah. That is me looking at the stuff, like the lace that I made. I did also go upstairs and iron the lace out because it was kind of curling in on itself and that would make it harder to pin. so I just ironed it out so it laid flat. And you know how like crochet stuff has like a front and a back? Kind of. I'm pretty sure I made sure the front was facing the front. And I did make a bit too much for the lace. Like I had 2 extra pieces at the top. Yeah, I had like 2 extra strands at the top, which I had to fix. Yeah. Like I said, I just woke up. I'm filming this in the morning, and I am still half asleep and half dead. And I haven't had breakfast yet, so I'm hungry. But this is going to take a very long time to upload from my editing app. So yeah. That is basically all I have to say. I cannot think of anything else to add. And I can't think of anything else to ramble on for 8 more minutes. So yeah, you guys can just watch me sew and make stuff. Yay! thank you guys for watching this super duper long video. Sorry about the voiceover, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.